So it's all to play for still.
I think so. Do you want to bet against us?
Hello, everybody, and welcome to For the Love of Paul McGrath podcast here for the Teamsheet Tantrum for Deano's return back to the scene of the crime. Well, not really back to the scene of the crime because we're going there, but you know what I'm saying. You know what I'm saying. That's why I was struggled with the name of this kind of Deano Deja Vu. My brain wasn't working. I couldn't come up with anything more witty than Deano Deja Vu for the name of this. But we're going to talk about Norwich situation coming up today. Obviously, the team sheet, and we're here a small bit earlier as well because we're going to look back in the Liverpool game, and we're going to talk a small little bit about Liverpool, which wasn't to be for Aston Villa, but I think there was a lot of positives in the game, and I might have a little bit of a gripe that I want to get off my chest because it's something that, in the context of the game and in context of games against the bigger teams, that kind of boils my blood a small bit that we don't do as a team. But Paddy, firstly, how are you doing? I see both of us are wearing our hats at the moment. I wish I still had some to sell because this is the best advertisement that we've ever had for the hats on the podcast.
I think before we go any further, we might need to clear up your mic. I don't know whether the listeners are having a problem, but I'm having a problem hearing you. You sound like you're down a tunnel or something.
I don't know. Let me just see. No.
Someone give a thumbs up there in the comments and see.
Can you guys hear me?
Tell us if everything is okay.
My mic sound okay? Mic is grand for us.
Excellent.
Cotton buds are on sale, Paddy, in every local Tesco's at the moment, I'd say. That's get the water out of your ears.
Well, it's more than water in my ears. This bloody COVID is giving me a bloody nightmare at this stage.
I was just about to say, it could be one of those unseen things. Or guys, how are you feeling, Paddy? How are you feeling?
I'm not bad. I've had a bloody rough weekend, and that's why we never did a review on Liverpool. So, glad to be kind of out the other side of it. Still in isolation for a few days, but kind of need that rest now as well. But what can you do?
What can you do is right. What can you do is right. And I suppose that eagle-eyed viewers will see a different backdrop to Paddy there because he's in isolation. And we do look like we're both freezing because I was sprinting around the estate with a very, very demanding dog that if I didn't take him would have absolutely annoyed the head off me for the rest of the night. He would have looked at me with those beautiful, beautiful puppy eyes that he has, and I wouldn't be able to watch the match because he would have been gnawing at my heels. So that's why I'm still here, because I didn't want to be too late for the podcast. That's why I'm here in my coat and my hat as well. Anyway.
And I hadn't the energy to brush my hair. So literally just got out of bed and put on a jacket and a hat. So that's as far as I got.
Well, you have an excuse. Mine is just poor time management. But Paddy, let's talk a little bit about the Liverpool game. We're not going to go all in the obvious, I suppose, first. But like 1-0 loss away to Liverpool. I thought we did rather well. I thought we did exactly how I would have expected us to play, considering how we've played against Steven Gerrard. We were tight. We contained them. I thought the back four were brilliant, and they got a penalty, and we didn't. And realistically, they're the fine margins. Yeah, look, they had a lot of shots, and they peppered our goal, and they had all the possession, and there was that. But if you went into that game not expecting that against probably the best club team in the world, that's just kind of what I expected. And I don't know whether that made it more of a moral victory for me to come out of it 1-0. Albeit, I think it should have been 1-1. What do you think, Paddy?
Well, first and foremost, if you didn't look at the game and you looked at the results, and you saw that we could have had a penalty and they had a penalty, and that's what decided the game, you'd probably be a little bit hoodwinked because we didn't do an awful lot in the game in the attacking half of the pitch. We didn't have a shot on target, I believe.
Yeah, but and I heard that on the Villa View as well. I heard that and I went, God, that completely passed me by when I was looking at the stats after the game, and it didn't feel like usually when we play games where we didn't have a shot on target, you've gone, oh God, we were rubbish, but we looked structured, we looked disciplined, we couldn't get at them because we had no pace, yeah, but we looked like we were going out there to do a yeoman's effort, like.
Well, it would have been something special, I think, to rob it at that stage. And but for a refereeing decision, we possibly could. He may not have given the Liverpool penalty, and he could have given ours. And we don't expect those things to happen against the Big Six, and especially at the weekend. I think the Premier League decided at the weekend that they were going all out to put a bit of daylight between the greedy six and the shit, and gave them all a decision at the weekend. Which there was a lot of questionable stuff that went on. So ours was probably the least questionable.
Yeah,
I think, albeit I felt we were a little bit hard done by with the Alisson one. I guarantee you, if that was Emi Martinez at the other end, he'd be pointing to the spot straight away.
Well, yeah,
and that's just the way it's gone for us in the past, and that's why I'm saying it.
I did a podcast. I did a podcast today for the Real Football podcast today, and my kind of thoughts were, I'm not annoyed at not getting the penalty. I'm not annoyed with them getting a penalty. I tweeted straight away, clumsy tackle. I thought Mings was brilliant. I really did. I thought he was excellent. Konza, when he did the thou shall not pass, he was like fucking, what's your man's name from Lord of the Rings? Gandalf. And he was just like, thou shall not pass, and just nullified that attack when there was 4 breaking on him. Brilliant. I thought the back 4 were very good. So I'm not digging out Mings here or anything like that. I thought it was a penalty. I thought it was a penalty in real time. And when I saw it in real time, I went, that's kind of how I want VAR to be used. That if everybody thought it was a penalty in real time, then it should be given as a penalty. And then for the Alisson one, I can understand. Like, I looked at it and in real time, I went, I think that's a penalty as well. But I didn't think it was as much a penalty as the Mings one. And then when you see the still shots, you're kind of going, lads, that's a definite penalty. So and I'm contradicting myself now, because what I'm like, the way I'm describing this is what I thought in time, but now I've mellowed to it and I'm speaking about it afterwards. My view is that I don't care. Any potential penalty, referee goes over, looks at it on the screen. Who cares about the speed of the game, the pace of the game? Football isn't a fast game. Lads, if you think football's a fast game, have one look at other sports and you'll see that they're way faster than football. It's just fact. Like, go over, look at it, get it right, have another look at it. Because I think that if he goes over and he looks at that in the screen and says, no, lads, I don't think that's as much of a penalty for me, I think I'd actually be I'd feel a small bit better about it. Because you always have the chance that he's going to look at it and go, yeah, there's 2 hands there. And he doesn't have someone, like, he shouldn't, like, when he's looking at it on the screen, he shouldn't have anybody in his ear. Yeah. So the microphone should be nullified. And he goes over, he looks at it and he goes, yeah, I'm making my decision based on what I can see, not being influenced by VAR. Like, I just, we talk about VAR the whole time. I don't think, like, in real time, I'm not quite sure it was a penalty. The still shots show it was a penalty, but if the referee reviews everything and gets to see the still shots for everything, and not even the still shots, just gets to see it back slowed down, and he changes his decision in both instances, or maybe he gives 2 penalties, or maybe he gives no penalties. I prefer to take my chances with that. And I could be wrong, and I could think completely different next week, but I'm not aggrieved by either penalty decision at the weekend in reality. But I just think
I'm not aggrieved with the result. I think the result is fair. And that's probably why I'm not really pissed off at the penalty. I haven't looked back and you listen to Alan Shearer saying, what Salah does is clever. It's not clever. That's just playing with the rules.
It's playing with
you jump across the guy who's running to make an attempt to play the ball and don't make an attempt to play the ball yourself and you get a penalty. That's cheating. I'm not saying he dived, but he knew exactly what he was doing jumping in front of Mings. Alisson comes out and puts one hand on the ball and another hand on the fella's hip. You have to be asking questions, what's the other hand doing?
Paddy, should it have been a free out? Should it have been a free out to Liverpool because Alisson got his hand on the ball and therefore the hand was on the ball and it was on the ground and he was in control of the ball?
Yeah, and Mings probably didn't do
up all wounds.
Ings probably didn't do himself any favors trying to play the ball after he hit the ground, because it's like you never get them once you try and play on. They only favor the guys that roll around and do somersaults and do stuff like that. But look, that wasn't the worst penalty decision of the weekend. If I was looking at that, if you look at that Man City game,
one was awful. The last
Rudiger one I thought was absolutely terrible. I think he should be ashamed of himself the way he went down with that one. You know, Ronaldo was given one. He was no more. He couldn't have been 10 yards away from the ball. Yeah, it was a foul. Was he going to get the ball? No. How many times you see a ball being crossed into the box and a fella's being held and nothing is given?
We'll see. We'll see it tonight. I can guarantee you from a corner we will see it tonight. Tyrone Mings, if he doesn't have, we don't know who has COVID. There's apparently 2 players. I've seen 9 players speculated as who those 2 players are on the internet over the course of the day. We will see that tonight in the box, and it won't be given as a penalty. But look, I'm not going to sit here, and I know the narrative is, listen, the top 4 got the penalty decisions. I'm just going to focus on our penalty decisions. And I think that we look for me, I'm kind of going right. That's not the worst decision we're going to have against us all season. And if we come away with that with a 1-1 draw, if I was a Liverpool fan, I would be saying that's a joke shop, because they battered us. Like they were all over us, and we defended really, really well. I still think it was a good team performance. I just don't think that that wasn't a day for us. It would have been great to get a point. I'm not saying anything. But it was, and yes, that's exactly, Alex. That's you. Thanks for reminding me. I couldn't remember what I was going to say, so I was filling time there for a moment. That's why I brought up the Rudiger thing. But Ings did push the defender in the back. I think if VAR look at that, I think they're coming back for it as well. That's a really good point. And but after I'd said what I said,
if VAR look at that, are they looking at the fact that Ings was obstructed in that move?
That I can guarantee you it wouldn't have been a penalty, and I can guarantee, because once again we're going into the vagaries of the rule then in that instance. So how do you
don't just police the final movement, you police the whole move.
Exactly, and I think that there would have been loads of grounds there to say, well, define obstruction in that instance. Look, with those 2 penalties, look, it is what it is. I think the team performance was more than the result at the weekend. But I think that one thing and one gripe I have, and I know the team is going to be announced in 15 minutes time. I do have one little gripe, and I want to get on to some of the comments there, because some really, really good comments there, specifically about last week's game and about the game coming up in a moment. I have a gripe, and I have a gripe against somebody that's I think people are going to go, whoa, what's he doing giving out about Matty Cash for? I'm going to have a little bit of snip off Matty Cash. And it's for the smallest of reasons, and it's because of those penalties. Matty Cash needs to grow a set and bomb into the box. Whether he thinks he's going to get I'm actually okay at this moment in time with him bombing into the box and getting dispossessed and then lumping the ball up the field, because we're never going to win penalties crossing the ball into the back post. And I think we need to be smarter about this and win penalties. I said at the start of the year, Leon Bailey, Emi Buendia, Bertrand Traore, these guys were brought on to cut in and bomb in from the wings to get into the box. And if Matty Cash is going to be our outlet there, and people are going to say, it's not his game, he's never really done it. That's okay. Learn it. 24 years of age, now an international. Learn this as part of your game. Start bombing into the box. You're one-on-one with a fullback. And the same goes for Matty Target or Ashley Young at the other side, or whoever it is. But it's not usually one of them crossing the ball from that side. It's usually a winger or a midfielder. But for Matty Cash, he is the outlet on the right-hand side. And I'm saying, if I'm Steven Gerrard or if I'm Mick Beale, I'm saying, head down, run, and manufacture penalties for us, please, because more often than not, when we get the ball out there to him and he has a bit of space and he can't get at the defender, he tries to go around them and he's almost too honest. I'm at the stage now whereby Aston Villa Football Club need to be winning penalties like that, and we need to be ruthless about it, and call it professional if you want, or call it snide if you want, call it whatever. But I want to see him do it, because I think he's good enough for it. And I think he's one of the premier right full backs in the league at the moment. I think he's definitely in the top 5 right backs in the league, and he should be bombing in there, because I think he can do it, and I think that I think it's something that he needs to add to his game. I need to get off my chest. He had 4 opportunities to do it against Liverpool at the weekend, and he crossed them, and I wouldn't mind, but the crosses were sailing at the back post. They were overhit to the back post, and like, if you're going to overhit it to the back post, you might as well have a crack at running at that fullback. And So if you lose it, someone's going to be covering you back there anyway. But if you sail it 10 yards past the back post, and let's be honest, Buendia or Watkins ain't getting on a header at the back post. I think
Yeah.
we've enough of a sample set to know that Watkins ain't getting on a header at the back post.
Yeah.
So let's try something
But
small.
there's a lot of merit in what you're saying there, Neil, and the reason I agree with you is if we're going to play a narrow three up front with the two kind of just sitting in behind the striker, there's loads of room there to get into that channel from either side for the fullbacks. I don't think we're going to see Matt Targett doing it too often. We saw it with Jack, but that was because Jack made a lot of space for him. But I agree with you that Matt Cash should be doing better, or at least drawing them into a situation where he at least gets a corner out of it, as opposed to overhitting corners to the back post.
And that goes for the other side as well. The only reason I'm saying it for Matty Cash is he's our crossing outlet from that side. The other side, we tend to cut in a small bit more. And when Buendia plays in front of Cash, he tends to cross the ball a small bit less, and maybe we might see that tonight. Who knows? But it's something that bugged me at the weekend, because he was lined up 1-on-1 with Robertson, and Robertson was filing back because we were doing it on the break. And I thought there was an opportunity to get in there, get a tangle of legs, make the referee make a decision. If you don't get it, you don't get it. But if you don't have instances to be given a penalty, you certainly won't be given a penalty. And I know, look, 5 years ago, if we're talking about the only way we win games, or the way that we will win games and rocket up the league is getting penalties, it would be considered a failing of the team and of your system. But I think in this day and age, playing for penalties and manufacturing them is almost part and parcel of the game. And look, if the rules are there to be, if you want to find the margins in the rules, well, then find the margins in the rules. The All Blacks do it in rugby, for everything at the breakdown. If anybody plays rugby, you just see it. They're right on the line and they know them inside out. Why don't we should be manipulating those in our favor as well? Anyway, look, I'm going completely off topic there, but let's have a look at some of the comments there, Paddy. For some of the guys, Music Junkie said, excited for the game. No Marvelous, I hear. Yeah, Marvelous Nakamba waiting on MRI results. Likely he's done for the season is what they say, but results have not come back yet. So I'm very unfortunate for a man who was really kicking on and was pivotal. Was really pivotal. It was very good against Liverpool at the weekend, and it's going to be really interesting to see what happens over the Christmas and festive period. Now, do we see a young kid on the bench tonight that will come in? Do we see young Tim back on the bench? Because I seem to like him in that defensive midfielder position. Be really interesting to see what the story is. Ronan O'Reilly comes on and says as well that Marvelous has gone for a while. He was really hitting form as well. Yeah, Brendan Townsend, congratulations, Brendan. Brendan has had a swanky claret jacket on for his wedding. Saw the pictures that he popped up on Twitter there showing. So congratulations. And Brendan thinks that Sanson starts and shows us what he can do. Yeah, there was a bit of a Morgan Sanson love in our chat in Gerard's presser. So I think he does start tonight. I think he will start tonight as well. A couple of other ones there is Rob Henry says that the two Emmys are out. I heard one Emmy being speculated, but nothing official on that at all. I don't know if anything is broken.
I think we're just going to have to wait, because I think I've heard every different name being bandied about at this stage.
Yeah,
the only one that seemed fairly sure was Keenan Davis, and then somebody said Keenan Davis was at the hotel today, so he was apparently the first one on Sunday.
Yeah.
So I don't know where we're at this stage with COVID. We'll just have to wait and see. And by process of elimination, we'll probably work it out fairly quickly.
Good. Yeah, exactly. I suppose we will know now in a moment. Yeah. Just on the hats as well, guys, for those that joined late, I just ran straight in here after walking the dog. Paddy's in isolation with COVID at the moment. So we bought a very, very different reasons for wearing the hats. They just happen to be branded hats. And as I say, seems to be a bit of love for the hats. We might have to get those back. Or maybe my supplier still has 2 or 3 of them lying around the place. I will check that out, because I know that I think it was Biff who often messages in as well, was looking for one too. So let me see if I can pull 1 or 2 of them out of there, and I will let you guys know on Twitter. Where are we there? There's a couple of things there on a couple of things there on the Liverpool piece, and I know we spoke about the Liverpool piece there for quite a while, specifically with regards to to the penalties, and I don't want to go over all ground with penalties again, but there's one here. PSK says a steer is one of the 2 COVID cases. I'm not sure if there's any more color or context to that. I'd love to know, because we don't want to be breaking news on this podcast. We're not in the business of breaking news. We're in the business of commentating on it, but it still would be nice to hear, because that would be interesting to see. Would Sinisalo then be on the bench? What would be the situation there? It would be big news, I think, for Steer going back to his former club too as well, because remember he was a guy who came over with Paul Lambert, if I'm not mistaken, from Norwich. Where else are we, guys?
I think no matter who we're missing tonight, Neil, I'd be bitterly disappointed if we weren't turning over Norwich the way we've been playing. I think our game is perfectly set up to go and steamroll Norwich today, regardless of who we've got. And strange fact, Norwich have never won a Premier League game on a Tuesday night.
I heard that. Yeah, I heard that. And
14 games. 14 or 15 games without winning a game on a Tuesday night.
That is interesting, because, and to be honest, like, we're going to have Dean Smith back, but they're ravaged with COVID and people being out as well. Like, if they didn't have bad luck, they'd have no luck at all at the moment. What with the penalty at the weekend and now the COVID outbreak, and realistically, Man United have a COVID outbreak as well. Like that game, where was the cross contamination? I don't know. And I don't want this to be a COVID podcast, but they're without Zimmerman, Rashika, Norman, Matthias Norman, who's played well from this year, Grant Hanley, our lad, Andrew Obama Daly, Sam Byram is out, Tazzoli is out, Ben Gibson is likely out, although he potentially could play. That's quite a lot of players. That's 3 centre halves. Like you'd be going up against Kabak and another then. In that back line, and they're obviously going to have like I know Billy Gilmore is a good player and everything like that, but do you want him really anchoring your midfield against maybe a more seasoned, experienced midfield? Him alongside another potential academy graduate in Lees Malou, and then they're going to have your man McLean on the other side. I don't know. I don't know how that midfield will. I would be looking for us to hit them big style in midfield, because they're going to have Cantwell, Pookie, and Sargent up front. And while Sargent, to me, looks like a guy who couldn't hit the back end of a barn, he's playing against Aston Villa, so that means that he turns into what 1995 or 1997 Ronaldo, fat Ronaldo. So you never know. PSK says that Marshall was spotted at Carrow Road. We saw that Zyke is tweeting there. This is real. All we're missing is, remember your man, the trees that used to be on, if any of you guys read Heroes and Villains, and he used to follow the planes. That's all we're missing now. It's fantastic stuff, guys. Keep us abreast of the situation. If anybody sees anything, let us know.
Just to clear up the Marshall situation, that's perfectly normal that we travel with 3 goalkeepers in case someone gets injured in the warm up. So yeah. I'm not too worried about that. There's always an extra goalkeeper and an extra player in case someone goes down in the warm up. So you'll always see somewhere around the stadium there will be a player sitting in his tracksuit with the reserve keeper if they've both come through the warm up scenario. So that I just put that on screen because I felt that needed to be said as well, in case people are thinking otherwise.
Yeah, and that makes sense. That makes sense. So maybe he is on the bench. Who knows? Well, we'll see. We're 4 minutes away. Paddy, all going to plan, and provided that. What I'm trying to say here is, who do you want to start? Because I was going to say, provided there's no COVID, but there is COVID, we don't know who has it, so forget about it. And what do you think who would you like to start and play well today?
Well, you know what? I honestly thought tonight was a night to mix it up. So if there is a couple of COVID cases between the starting 11, the only 2 I don't want it to be, who I worry about backing up, is Matty Cash and Emi Martinez, because I don't think we've had adequate cover there. Now, Jed Steer is an able replacement against Norwich, but if we had to do it against Chelsea or Leeds or one of those, I'd be a little bit worried. But Anywhere else, I'm perfectly fine with players going down injured. Nakamba, we know is out. He's going to be replaced. I'd like to see young Tim put in there. I'd like to see him put in against Norwich and see what he can do. I think it's a perfect opportunity, considering Gerrard has said he's going to give everyone an opportunity. I felt tonight was a night for Keenan Davis too. So if he's not one of the COVID victims, throw him in there. Throw him in there. Let him see what he can do.
Really?
From the start.
No,
Yeah.
Danny Ings. No, do you know what, lads? Danny Ings and Ollie Watkins. We just leave the 70 million worth of players on the bench and we throw in Keenan and Davis. I suppose.
If he said he's giving them a chance, give him a chance. Put him in there. They play Watkins in that 10 position as well, and Danny Ings on the bench.
I knew I'd like. I was expecting you to shake it up a bit, but there was me thinking maybe we give Ramsey a break because we've got a lot of games coming up. He's been out a couple of niggles. We play Philogene Badace or something like that. That's what I was expecting. I wasn't expecting Keenan Davis. I definitely, Paddy, are you sure you're coming out of COVID okay? No, I'm only joking. Like we've been pretty big on Keenan Davis. Not big on him, but we've given him a break. We have given Keenan Davis a break, because look, what he does lack, he makes, he lacks in certain areas, but he is a trier, and we've had a lot of players who've had all the talent in the world and not tried a lot of aspects, and
I don't think Danny Ings is fully fit, so there's a lot of decisions to be made, and we don't know yet who the COVID patients are. So that's why he came into my head. That we play Watkins in one of the 10s behind Keenan Davis with Emi Buendia, and then we'll have to mix up the middle three because of Nakamba being injured. So that's obviously going to be Sanson, McGinn, and Dougie Luiz, should they all be fit. And the back four picks itself once they're all fit too. So it's like the only place to change it up is up there, from what I can see.
I don't think we change. I think we need 3 points on the board. I've seen a couple of people say there, we're not Man City, lads. We can't be rotating the squad just because it's against. No, I think we need these 3 points. We need 3 points against Burnley, and I think if we get those, that's a really good haul. That's what 3. What is it? 5 multiplied by 3 is 15. Yeah, and then 2 losses in the middle there, so that's 15 points from 21. Yeah, my maths are still on target there. I think that's a really good haul. I think that's a really good haul considering where we are. Look, if you want to call halfway to safety or whatever you want to call it, we're there or thereabouts. We're at about what do we be at then? 31 points, or more at that stage. So we can start looking up as opposed to looking down, and it's only Christmas, and we'd be relatively in the same position we were this time last season. The team is, I would imagine, about to be announced because you're looking at your phone, and it has been announced.
And there's no Keenan Davis. He's not even in the squad.
Well, there you go. There you go. So it's Martinez, Cash, Konza, Mings, Target, McGinn, Luiz, Ramsey, Buendia, Watkins, and Ashley Young, with a substitutes bench of, and you know what, PSK, you may have been right, there's no steer. So we had Marshall on the bench with Tuanzebe, House, Young Tim, Chuck Moeka, Philogene Badace, Trezeguet, Archer, and Ings.
So does that mean now that Morgan Sanson, Jed Steer, and Keenan Davis are our COVID victims?
Where's El Ghazi?
And El Ghazi probably. Potentially
I would say El Ghazi. El Ghazi, Sanson,
should have been a shoe-in today.
Steer, El Ghazi, and Sanson would be mine. But then again, he mentioned Sanson only yesterday. But then again, there was a first round of testing today. Oh, curiouser. Anyway, I'm happy with that team. Jesus, look, I'll be realistically speaking, Paddy, we might get best of both worlds here. We've got a team out that should, and this is out me being cocky balls here now, but this should be a team that can go out and get our business done against Norwich.
Of course,
we're going to check for the Norwich team here. Let's just check to see if we have a Norwich team announced. We do. It is Krul in goals, Aarons, Kabak, Gibson, Williams, Sorensen, McLean, and Gilmore, Placheta, Cantwell, and Pookie. Like they're strong as well. Like they're strong as well. And they're missing some very, very good players.
Mm.
Like they don't have a bad squad at all, you know. And you be like they have a squad that you know looks like it'll be a squad that Smith will work with. Yeah, this isn't going to be an easy game at all. This is not going to be an easy game.
It's strong at the top for sure. I fancy us to get at them at the back. It's just if we can get that right ourselves. Like you mentioned a few names that I haven't even heard of there at the back for Norwich. I can't see it either because it's so small.
Max Aarons, Kabak, who was at Liverpool last season, Gibson, Ben Gibson, and then Brandon Williams on loan from United.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And then is that Frederick Sorensen?
He came on at the weekend, did he?
Yeah. Look, it's going to be an interesting one, and it's textbook Dean Smith. This team is. You can imagine. I'll tell you exactly what their tactic is going to be. Get the ball to Cantwell as quick as possible. Billy Gilmore is going to be there. John McGinn, not just cultural appropriation because both of them are Scottish. Billy Gilmore is going to be that guy. Sorensen's going to sit in, provide the pivot, and sit in as a three in the back three. Aarons and Williams are going to go forward. It's going to be get the ball to Cantwell and Plachette at all costs, and we're going to have somebody to marshal Timo Pukki, although he has gone a bit dry recently.
So doesn't Sorensen normally play at centre back?
He does. If this is the same Sorensen I'm thinking of, then yes, he does. Yeah.
So it's effectively a 5.
Oh Jesus! Don't mention. You're not allowed to mention 3-5-2, Paddy. You're not allowed to mention it. You know this. now. Come on. It's going to annoy me about Sorensen, so I'm just going to Google him here. And no, it's Jacob Sorensen. I thought it was Frederick Sorensen. Jacob Sorensen. No, he's a midfielder. He's a different guy. I was thinking of somebody completely different. Danish under 21. He was at Norwich last season. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't know a whole pile about him. Don't know. He played 33 games for Norwich since he's joined them last season. So, but really don't know a whole lot about him. Most of his games came in the championship last season, but we'll get a good look at him, I think, this season tonight, because judging by this, tonight is his first start in the Premier League. So
interesting.
Fair play to him indeed. I think with the team that we were able to put out, and I'll pop it back up on the screen there again. Sorry, with the team we were able to put out, I think you'd have to be hopeful of coming away with 3 points tonight.
I think so. I don't think we can expect anything less than that. I think I'd be bitterly disappointed going to bed tonight if we haven't got another 3 points on the board. Like we have a bit of inexperience on the bench, but it's good inexperience. It's good players, good solid young players who've worked their way up.
I think there's only 2 really that I would consider Fiji and Brace. Yeah. Like, do we consider him, like, he's been in and around that team for a while, and I think experience is relative. I'd prefer to have people who are experienced in how the team plays than.
Well, he'll fit in fine. Like, Archer's inexperienced. He hasn't played too many first team games. Young Tim hasn't played at all. Trezeguet's probably still not fit. Ings is probably still not fit. There's a lot to consider outside of what's on the pitch. But
like, Jesus, if we get an injury in midfield,
well, we've Carney and young Tim to come in there.
But that sounds like that was. Sorry, my mind was going way faster than my mouth. If we get an injury in midfield, the opportunity it gives to one of those 2 young men, you know, both of them only Carney only 18, young Tim only 19. You know, does he move does he move Ashley Young back if he needs to into midfield? I wouldn't like to see that. I'd like to see him back.
It depends on what the score is at the time. I get, you know, what with the amount of people we have on 4 yellow cards, this is probably going to pop up in the next few games anyway.
I'm okay with all of them getting yellow cards today. Get it out of the way before Christmas. Look, like the Burnley game is going to be, a lot of it's going to be played up in the sky against Burnley. It always is, and I'm okay with. Like, like if McGinn wants to get his yellow card, provided that we don't, that Sansa on his back and we don't have that, you know, I'm not saying that Burnley are going to be pushovers or anything like that at all, but we're going to have to get it at some stage. I'd prefer us to get it now than to have it for Chelsea and Stephen's Day. Is it Chelsea we have on Stephen's Day? I think it is.
Chelsea, yeah, and then Leeds.
And then Leeds, yeah. So like, I think we need to get 6 points out of the next 2 games for sure. But I would like us to be in the long grass for Chelsea, having an 8-day recovery period between, and literally 8 days. Everybody goes home for the first 3 days and locks themselves and sits into a bin bag, and literally a clean bin bag that is, and just like isolates in there for 3 days. Make sure we've no more positives, and then hit Chelsea hard then on Stephen's Day, because we've had some bangers with Chelsea and Boxing Day, as you guys call it. We call it Stephen's Day, Hangover Day. A lot of other people call it as well. But
I think the moral of the story here is we're looking at tonight: Burnley, Chelsea, Leeds, and then Brentford. That, there's a good opportunity to get at least 3, if not 4 wins out of that.
Yeah. Well, look, yeah, there is, and
we normally get a much worse run at Christmas. There's normally a horrible run for us at Christmas.
I've got a funny feeling Leeds are beginning to start burning again with regards to the fire is starting to burn with them again, and they could be right bang in form again by the time we play them. They're beginning to spark again, I think. And like they were a handful for Chelsea at the weekend. Chelsea needed all the penalties they could get, at the weekend, and they got them. But it's like they're beginning to spark again, and we're on to that at the moment. But back to the Norwich game today. I really want us to do what teams have done to us in the past. I want us to do what teams have done to us in the past, if that even makes any sense. I want us to switch play really quickly. I want us to overload certain parts. I want us to mark Cantwell out of the game. And I think we can do. I think Ashley Young and Target will be able to handle Cantwell down that wing. Now, famous last words, go on and watch him have a fucking worldie tonight. But I really want this. I want to see Cash bomb into the box tonight. I want to see him do a Trent Alexander-Arnold impression, tonight, because I think he's that bloody good. I think he can be. I think he's really good player, and I just want to see that extra bit from him. I want to see Douglas Louis. Who's going to be at the bottom of the midfield tree? Will there be one? Will it be a flat midfield tree? To me, it has to be there, because Douglas has been playing too well. Has been playing way too well to push him back into that midfielder, that defensive midfielder role. Do we need a defensive midfielder tonight? Playing away from home, I would think we would. There's a lot of questions. Yeah. Once again, I'm going to sit. I think
Douglas Luiz will do a lot of the sitting tonight. I think that's how we'll start anyway. Yeah. I think if we get a foothold in the game, we might see him pushing on a little bit. I just can't see any other result than us giving them a tonking tonight. I really can't.
Really?
Yeah, I'm so enthused at the team we have out, because I was worried about the bigger names that we may have been missing out. Like when I heard today that Martinez was potentially out, Konza was potentially out. There was so many different rumors. I was quite worried. But looking at that team now, that's as close as you're going to get to our best side we can put out. So let's go and do them and do them. I'm going to say 3-0 tonight.
I'm going to give my prediction in a moment, but I just want to say, Paul Miller, thank you so much, man. That's really appreciated. Really appreciate that, man. Thank you very, very much, and thanks a million for listening as well. Also, just underneath it, Wesley gone to Palmeiras also. Interesting. You're breaking all the news tonight, PSK. Get out, slide into my DMs. I need to know more. Who are you? Are you, what was your man's name? General Kruliak? Is that who you are?
General Charles Kruliak.
That's brilliant. Yeah, that would be a good move. I think Wesley getting back to full. It's not working for him at Bruges at the moment, but once again, there's a whole podcast to be done in that too as well. But for me tonight, I think this is going to be a harder game than we think. I don't think it's going to be a tonking by any stretch of the imagination. I think Villa can go out and win this to 0. I think they can win it maybe a 2-0. I think we'll be stretched. I've got a funny feeling. I just have this really funny feeling that that something mad is going to happen in the game from the point of view of that we're not going to like we could end up with Tuanzebe, Young Tim and Chuck Mweka finishing in midfield or something mad like that, because these games in midweek don't go to plan usually. We're on BT. I don't know. I remember somebody had some stat about when we played in Sky, when we played in BT before. I saw it online. But do you know what? I'm going to say 2-0 Villa. And I'm going to say Trezeguet comes on and we're absolutely delighted with his performance. Not saying he's going to score a goal or anything like that, but I think it's just been nice to see him back in the field because he's guts and glory type guy, you know. Might like once again going back to what we said at the start of the podcast. We've had players who've been all skill and no heart, and as far as like Trezeguet, who is all like he's not going to let you down. He's going to run himself into a pulp in the ground in the field. And look, that might be everybody's cup of tea, but I think Steven Gerrard would appreciate that. And I think if there's an opportunity to give him minutes tonight, that he will get them over for the Gimbides, provided the situation dictates it. But yeah, I'm less confident about this game than I was 20 minutes ago, Paddy. I will be really honest.
You're less confident?
I'm less confident, yeah, for some strange reason, because I've seen.
And I've gone the opposite way.
You're the yin to my yang.
I think I'm back to myself. I think this COVID is finally gone. I'm feeling a lot more optimistic.
Yeah. It's yeah, I see some people are saying it's on Amazon, but it's on BT Sport as well. I think some BT Sport 3, somebody said, or BT Sport 2. Yeah.
Okay.
Or yeah, so you should be able to
no Chinese streaming tonight, so.
No, I haven't had to learn Malay. I think it was Malaysian was the last time I watched the game in, and I picked up a few words by the end of it. It was really good. I think I can say it. I think
Malaysian
crossed the ball was crossed in Malaysia. Anyway, that's beside the point, lads. It's 1 minute to 7. I know the game isn't on for another 45 minutes. We started a small bit earlier. I'm going to finish up a small bit earlier as well, just to get situated in front of the TV. We very nearly had a little gurgling, crying visitor with us today as well, but unfortunately, because I think she stole the show the last time she was on. We didn't have her today, but if there is a reaction pod, and if we do, like Paddy seems to think we're going to do, if we go out and win 14-0 tonight, there will be a reaction pod, and I will have I would most likely have my daughter giving her 2 cents on the situation as well. Excellent. So, lads and lasses, thank you so much for listening in. Just before you go, if you are watching us on the YouTubes, could you hit the thumbs up button, please? I should really say this at the very, very start, because you know, it just helps. It helps the Jesus. I think we had nearly 300 people watching there at one stage. I'm only just after noticing it in the top right left hand corner now. Thank you so much, everybody. Really appreciate it. Before we go as well, small bit of housekeeping. Something I should have said at the start of the podcast as well. We are bringing these to you in collaboration with the Spond app. Spond, Spond. It's available on iOS app stores and on the Android app store as well. Spond app is great for anybody who's part of an organization, a team, a committee. You can use it for work-related pieces as well. You can sync it with your calendar. It's a one-way message, or it's a group messaging service, also a group syncing service whereby you can let people know of events that are happening, recurring events, and changing events at the last minute if that needs to be done. The Spond app is really, really great for this. As I said, and I genuinely am using it outside of work, so that's why I started to use it prior to doing these, and I do find that it's very, very good. Very good for accepting payments and making payments through as well. Nice and secure, because nobody likes collecting money if you're part of a team, a squad, or an organization or anything like that. So it's definitely something that I would look at if I was you guys. Spond, available on all app stores. Go download it now. Have a quick look at it. It's completely free, as I say. But they are a very, very good contributor here to the podcast, and we do appreciate their support. Also, Beer 52 today is what? What date is today? Are we still
14th.
within? Today's the 14th. You've 3 more days to get to beer52.com/love if you want to get a case of 10 beers for the price of $5.95. As we said before, Beer 52, they are a beer company that source their beers all around the world. It's a subscription-based service. After the first month, you will pay €24 per month. You can cancel it at any time, so don't worry, you're not locked in. They'll send you beers from different countries. They also will send you, when they send you beers, they'll send you magazines, snacks, it's it's an all-encompassing type of service like that. But for us, they have given us an offer whereby you sign up today, beer52.com/love. You pay $5.95 postage. They send you 10 beers for a case of 10 beers. That's 10 more beers that you'll have before Christmas than you wouldn't have had before. So whether you like light beers, dark beers, whatever types of beers, give them a look. beer52.com/love. If that's something that interests you, we'd be delighted to give you that offer too. So with that, guys and girls and everybody else in between, thanks so much for watching. We might be back with a reaction pod, as I said, depending on the result. But here's to a great game tonight. It's going to be different to see Dean Smith in the other dugout. But look, life goes on. The wheels of life keep turning, as Declan Ernie once said. For any of your, for any of our Irish listeners, so I don't think anybody would have ever expected me to say his name when I asked him for the podcast. But thanks so much again, guys, and we will see you. We'll see you soon, is what I'm going to say. And all that's left to say is up the Villa.
Up the Villa.